Hi. So in my previous two videos, I was looking at this ART 4-channel mixer. And in my first video, I demonstrated it using an SM57. And I found the SM57 was okay, but the level was low. I had to kind of max the gain and the level to get a decent signal for speaking volume. And I wasn't really happy with that. So on the recommendation of a friend, I went out and bought an Audio-Technica AT2020, and this is a condenser microphone. It's an all-purpose microphone, so it's good for miking instruments, but it's also good for vocals and speaking. It's phantom powered, so that's why it's got a little better level. So I found when I used this in my second video, it really gave a lot more control over the level, right? So I could get a decent speaking volume without taking the gain much over 3/4, and the level was around 3/4 as well. So I just like that extra level of control with that microphone. Now, sometimes, if you have if you're a one-man band, so to speak, and you have one or two microphones, you can get away with that. But if you're having a larger group, maybe you want to bring in a third microphone. And so to illustrate this, I have an Apex 120, just an old one I had kicking around, and it's XLR like most microphones are. And if I want to plug this into this board, obviously I have to look at channels 3 and 4. Okay, so channel 3 is a mono input, and 3, 4 combined is considered a stereo input. So really we're looking at just using channel 3 here. So we'll do that. There is a gain on these channels, but it's not a lot of control. It's just low or high. And we need it to be as high as possible, so we'll leave the button out. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to go down to the level for channel 3, 4. It's this button right here, and we're just going to turn that all the way to the max. And we're going to find, normally I don't like doing that. You want to kind of back it off a little from the max, but in this particular case, because these are line level, you'll see when we're using the microphone that even with max, it's not giving us the volume we would like. So now we have the issue of plugging this XLR into that board, and for that I have this little adapter cable, and it simply clicks in there, gives me a 1/4 inch, and I can now plug the 1/4 inch into my board in channel 3. Okay. All right, so this microphone's all ready to go, so I'll switch over to this microphone and we'll see how it sounds. Now you can see, as I'm speaking, that the level is very low. Okay, so probably not going to work out for us. Okay, so yeah, so the level there was really low. You could probably barely hear me. And just to illustrate the difference here, I'm going to take this out of channel 3, and I can actually, these are kind of multi-connectors, so even though I could use XLR there, I can actually plug this directly into that channel. On this gain, I have it, a little more than 3/4, not to the max, but up there. And with this level, it's also a little more than 3/4. That's similar to what we had for the SM57. Okay, and now we'll check it out and see what levels we get. And you can tell now that levels are quite high. So it's, you can see the difference between those two channels. Okay, so from that, what we kind of conclude is that with this particular unit, just unplug that. With this particular unit, you can use the two microphone channels right here, but really anything going into these needs to have some level of power. Now we can't use the AT2020 here, even though it's powered, but it needs to have the power from the board, and that's what this button gives us. So you can only use the AT2020 in channel 1. We could use the SM57 in channel 2, but other than that, we're not going to be able to use additional microphones with this board without some sort of preamp. Okay, so thanks for watching my video.